Do you want to know what the ugly truth is about dealing with narcissists? I know because I've been there, and I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on the whole thing and how you can really arm yourself and protect yourself from these things. That's coming up in this video. Hey there. So I'm Rebecca Zung, and as many of you know, I'm an attorney, and I have written a couple of best-selling books. And what I do here on this channel is I teach you how to negotiate with narcissists. And so if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that now. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. And the reason why I talk about this so much is because I have personal experiences with dealing with narcissists on a number of different ways, not as a husband, but certainly as other in the form of other people who certainly were close enough to me to make my life a living hell and wreak havoc. And so kind of part of my journey was that, as some of you know, I was raised in Northern Virginia, and when I was growing up, being half Chinese, there were no other half Chinese kids around there. No, the only other ones I knew were like my siblings or my cousins and people like that. I really didn't know anybody else, and so, and as kids, you don't ever want to not fit in, of course, but I had experience with bullying. And if you want to know more about that, you can definitely check out my video called I Don't Normally Share This. And it's all about my own experience with that. But really, narcissists are just a form of bully. So that was kind of like my first brush with it. And then I grew up, I became a lawyer and all these things, and as I got older and I started to have more experiences in my life, I thought that I had healed all these old things, and then I realized that I hadn't, because when a couple of narcissists came along into my life, then I realized that I still had some things that I needed to heal. But one of the things I had been doing as a lawyer is I had been speaking about negotiating for years and years and years. I had come up with these talks on negotiating because I wanted to go out and try to, get business when I was a new lawyer. And nobody really wanted to hear me talk about divorce stuff. And I was practicing divorce law at the time. So I came up with this talk on how to powerfully negotiate. And I spoke to probably 100 different Rotaries and American Business Women's Association and medical associations and League of Women Voters and Hadassah groups, and literally anyone who wanted me to come speak, I would come and speak on negotiation skills. And I worked my way up and eventually was a keynote speaker for the American Bar Association. And I spoke to Elevate, which is a large women's networking organization. And, I started to get more like national types of gigs for negotiating. And so that's how I ended up coming up to writing the book, Negotiate Like You Matter. And, Robert Shapiro offered to write the foreword for it. It was a big deal, and I was super excited about it. And honestly, my plan was to start teaching on negotiations. I was going to develop courses on just negotiating, period, and maybe do some YouTube videos, maybe teach at a university or something like that. That was the plan until I realized that I was dealing with a couple of narcissists right in my space. And one of them was in a business type of setting. And I realized that this person was a covert passive aggressive narcissist. And I talk all about that type of narcissist in a video called The Covert Passive Aggressive Narcissist. You can definitely check that out if you'd like. But that was when my eyes started opening and I started realizing that, hey, I can actually apply what I've learned about narcissism to what I've learned about negotiation. And that's when I started seeing movement in my cases. And that's when this whole thing was born where I started teaching specifically on negotiating with narcissists. But the reason why I have such a passion for it is because I've had to deal with it. I've had to live with it. I've been there. And the one thing I want you to know is that narcissists are pretty much everywhere at this point. I mean, they say like 1 in 10 people are narcissistic or have narcissistic traits or tendencies. I've also heard a statistic that it's like 16% of the population. Let me just tell you, like, if you are a person living on this planet, unless you like never leave your house, you've had to deal with them. I mean, really pretty much everywhere. And the ugly truth of dealing with them is, number one, is that they use people, they use anybody, because they're just, everybody is, they just look at it as like an opportunity for how can I get narcissistic supply. And so people are really just pawns in their game of how they can get, supply. And the ugly truth is they even use their own children. And, so if you are dealing with a narcissist in a situation with a custody situation, that they have no problem using their children to get what it is that they want. I mean, they will stop at nothing to get what they want, and they will use the children if they need to hurt you as a pawn in the game, whatever it is that they need to do. And that's super, super sad. But that's why I teach this, in part because I want everybody who is dealing with narcissists to have the tools that they need in order to get what it is that you want, and in a peaceful way, in a way that you don't end up feeling beat up, throughout the entire process. And the second ugly truth is that they don't really care about you, even if they act like they do. And that's kind of a sad thing too, right? I mean, because you start having all these thoughts about what is it that our relationship actually was, did they ever love me? Was it all a lie? And let me just tell you, don't go there. Don't go there. That's not going to help you going forward. Just know that what you thought was real, and whatever wasn't, and it's fine, and it happened, and you're going to learn from it, and you're going to move on, and you're going to be a way better person for it. And in some ways, it'll end up being the best thing that ever happened to you, because you will learn and you will grow, and you will never let this ever happen to you again. And you're never going to not see the signs again. And maybe you'll even use this as an opportunity to do good things for people, just the same as what I decided to do for you guys. Okay, so that's the next thing. Another one that is, an ugly truth about dealing with narcissists is that they are highly skilled at reading people. I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily smarter than other people, but they are certainly highly skilled at reading people. And so you have to be very careful. You have to just make sure that you're 2 steps ahead of them. And that's one of the reasons why in my SLAY program, I talk about strategy and leverage. And then the A stands for anticipating what they're going to do and being 2 steps ahead of them. They are extremely predictable. That's the good news about them, is that they are extremely predictable, but they are highly skilled at reading people. And if any of this is making sense to you so far, give me a totally in the comments below. Okay. And then another ugly truth is that they're always manipulating, even things they don't need to manipulate, and even to their own detriment sometimes. I've seen we have a narcissist in our family, and, my husband and I talk about this all the time, that it's like, gosh, if the person had just been straightforward, had just done the right thing, had just, instead of constantly trying to manipulate everything and every situation, it would really have actually worked out better for that person at times. But, you know, it's like that's just how they operate in the world. They don't think that they can get what they want by just going for it. They have to constantly be manipulating the situation, and they lie. I mean, they lie about stuff they don't even need to lie about. They lie about stuff that's readily verifiable. It's like insane, but it's just their way of being. And if you can start realizing that, it'll actually start to go much more smoothly for you. When you start to just see them for who they are, your life actually starts to get easier and better. And the last thing I want you to know, as far as an ugly truth about narcissists, is that they will protect their image at all costs. And I had to see that as well. And, you know, even if it means taking credit for things that you did, stealing your ideas, stealing your your intellectual property, or whatever it is that they need to do, they're usually not very good at coming up with their own ideas. And so they want to make it look like they did, so they take things from other people. Super horrible. They're totally energy vampires. They suck and drain the life out of you, like literally like a pod that comes down and sits next to you and just drains the life out of you. I know that's how I felt when I was dealing with them. I know that's how all of you feel. And that's why I have I'm on this crusade and this mission, to make sure that you all have the right tools. And that's why I provide all of this free content, to make sure that it's accessible to anyone. And so in that vein, I want to make sure that you know that I do have a free Crush My Negotiation Prep worksheet. Make sure you grab that. It's at winmynegotiation.com. And if you want to join my free private Facebook group, feel free to do that too. That is Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. And if you like this video, give me a like. And make sure you share it. If you think that anybody else is dealing with this, if you're dealing with narcissists, somebody else is too. So make sure that you share it so that other people can learn about the ugly truths in dealing with narcissists. And if you haven't dropped me that comment, drop me a comment, just say totally, or let me know what it is that you've been dealing with the narcissists in your life. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, now's a great time to do that. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I know that you're suffering. I know that you're in pain. And I want you to know that we are here for you. I'm here for you. I'm providing resources for you. Don't give in. Don't give up. Wherever you are now, that's the jumping off point to wherever it is that you want to go. There are resources here. So make sure that you use them. And remember that today is a great day to start negotiating your best life. Okay? I'll see you all in the next video.